Right, how are we doing, folks? This is a video which I've been requested to do a couple of times, and I'm finally getting round to it. I'll just set this up a little bit better here. As many of you know, both from first hand and from watching other people's videos, a lot of pipe smokers become victims of pad and tad. Now, I'm no different to this, except the only drawback is I actually work in the tobacco trade. I'm the manager of a tobacconist in the UK, which means that I'm surrounded by pipes all week long. Whereas some of you may like a pipe, you can just not look at it, not go on the website or avoid it when you go into a shop. I don't have that option. I'm surrounded by pipes all the time, and sometimes I wonder why I don't get much money into my savings account and I have to empty it out that I'm supposed to be using to save up to buy a house. This partly explains some of it. So I'm going to go through my collection. These are what I refer to as my standard pipes. There's a few on here that are very, very nice, freehands and things like that, but on the whole, this is my standard pipe collection. So I'm going to start with my first ever pipe, which is this. It's a Parker Brewer 01. This is a Parker Billiard. This was my first ever pipe. I bought this within 4 hours of starting to work at Gauntlet as a tobacconist. After smelling all of the tobaccos and listening to people talking about how much they love the pipes and the pipe tobaccos and people explaining things to me, I went over, got myself overdrawn and bought this pipe because I was unemployed before I worked at Gauntlet, so I was very, very skint when I first started. This pipe has got burnout halfway down the chamber. It tastes absolutely revolting now. I've smoked so many different tobaccos through this that this pipe is ruined in essence. I've tried sterilising it, I've tried using vodka, meth, everything, and I don't care. It's my first pipe, it's my pride and joy. It's not a very expensive pipe, but that's what got me started into the world of pipe smoking. So, like I say, I'm going to take you through some of this collection here on my desk. And this is the first part of the video. The second part, I'll take you through my collection of pipes. All of these have been smoked, or if they haven't been smoked, are bought to be smoked. Some I don't think I will ever get round to smoking, but there's some beauties on here. So I'm going to start up here. This is a calabash, a sitter. This is made with Tanzanian Meerschaum, not Turkish Meerschaum. I bought this from Bergman's, I think it might have been tobacconist in Amsterdam. The lady tried to talk me out of it. She said they're fucking awful pipes, but I'd never owned a Tanzanian Meerschaum pipe before, so I had to buy one. Whoops, I need to be careful because this Meerschaum, it is very, very soft. You probably can't see it too well on there, but it is covered in scratches and marks. It's such a delicate bowl. But I had to buy it. It cost me about €15, I think. And it's not the most attractive looking pipe, but I just had to own one. I do, however, own a very, very old calabash. This is an old calabash gourd, silver banded. That doesn't smoke particularly too nice either. I could do with replacing the calabash inside it, but it's part of a collection. This here is my Mario Grande. Basically, it's a long love it, really. This is a very nice pipe. I love that slightly tapered mouthpiece. It grips so well in my mouth. That's actually a very, very, very good smoker. I bought that off 80's Pipes, and that is I like that. I like the grain and the finish. No, there's a little bit of bird's eye, no flame, but it's a nice pipe to smoke. This here is an carved Indian head pipe. Someone got this for me off a car boot sale, really, really cheap. Only problem is some numpty has glued the mouthpiece into the bowl, and I don't want to smoke it because I can't clean it properly. This here is one of my Falcon with the rather funky bowl. I do have other bowls. I use this for very goopy aromatics. Basically reasonably dry. I can take the bowl off and clean the chamber at the bottom when it gets too caked up. This here is a Polish cherrywood pipe. Unfortunately, it has a PVC mouthpiece that I broke by gripping it in my teeth. Whoops. Moving over here, this is a cheap basket varnished Italian pipe. I use this for aromatics that I think are going to taste like crap, and generally do taste like crap. So that's, again, not a very nice pipe to smoke, but I paid like £7 for that. This here is a Carrington Italian basket pipe. I love the ring grain on the side of this. I smoke this fairly frequently. This is for when I'm testing out aromatics. Got some lovely bird's eye on the other side of the bowl. There's quite a bit of filler in this, but it's quite a nice pipe. This is a recent acquisition of mine. This is a Stanwell freehand. It's a very, very nice pipe. I kind of ruined it by smoking Peterson Sunset Breeze through it, but I thought a pipe of this calibre, this size, will be good for aromatics. But yeah, hopefully the Carter Hall I've smoked through it has kind of stripped away some of that casing, so it doesn't smell like bloody Sunset Breeze anymore. These are 3 Missouri Meerschaum Legend corn cobs, one of which has had Thrancher smoked in it. So yeah, I use these a lot for tasting. Probably will only smoke these a couple more times. I don't mind corn cobs, but I'm a man of the briar. This is a pipe I bought in Cuba. I don't know what it's made out of, but it's got a very aromatic smelling wood. It's got some lovely engraving on this top part that feels like it's stone. Even the stem, the mouthpiece, it's not a very comfortable pipe to hold in your mouth. It's just a beautiful pipe I got off a market, a craft market sort of thing. Where do we go next? Okay, so these 3 pipes down here, these are some estate pipes I've picked up. I need to get a new silver cap made for the top of this one. The stem's not in too bad nick. I managed to get rid of some of the oxidization off it. It's absolutely been annihilated. I need to get a new cap for on the top. I think somebody paid like 50p, which is half of a pound. For those of you who, when I've referred to pence and p in the past, haven't known what I meant. This is an Irish reject. I don't think it's a Peterson. I'm not sure. Basically, it has a Peterson stem in it because it fitted. And this pipe belonged to the father of one of my big customers, who passed it on to me. I've smoked it a few times. A little bit bitter, and he's a good sterilising. And this is a very old Peterson Donegal Rocky. When this was polished up, it had a purpley kind of tint to it. I had a new silver band made for it, and this stem is a Parker stem, not the original stem. There was no stem on this pipe, so I've kind of improvised. But obviously that stem had to come from somewhere, which then moves me on to this. Now this is my pimped up Latakia furnace that I've spoken about in the past. It has an old Meerschaum mouthpiece on it and a silver ring, but the original stem for this pipe is what went on that Peterson just there. So, Parkers. As many of you know, I rave about predominantly these 2 Lovets. Now what these are Dunhill seconds. Dunhill reject hell of a lot of bowls. It's either 1 in 8 or 1 in 5 pipes Dunhill make are actually suitable for the white spot to be added to them. So for years worth of build up of these pipes, Dunhill branded these up as Parker. I now have them branded up as Gauntlets, and they're sold at a fraction the price, or like a tenth the price of what they will be if there was a Dunhill. You have slight flaws in them, the grain isn't always desirable, but they smoke amazingly. So it's basically a Dunhill at a fraction the cost. This is another one of these. This is the red or brown sandblasted finish. It's got some freaking amazing ring grain around it. Even Pierre Morel, when I went to St. Claude to meet him, even he said it was a beautiful pipe, but the stem is awful. But for the price you pay for them, for £30 for a Dunhill pipe, you cannot beat them. And these are another 2 of those rejects. This is a Canadian. This did have a black shellbriar finish and I didn't particularly like it, so I sanded it down and applied a lot of polish to it to bring out the grain. You can see there's a few cracks in the grain there, and I have actually split it down there by the mouthpiece. I can't remember how I did that, but luckily, because it's a Canadian, it's a long stem, eventually I'm going to lop that crack off and basically put the mouthpiece back on. I would like to have a saddle bit made for this though. Up next is a rather large bulldog, and this is a hefty pipe. I use this a lot for smoking. I smoke a lot of like Lakelands, not so much centered Lakelands. I smoke Lakelands and twists in this pipe. The big chamber suits it very, very well. It's quite heavy, so this does actually have a softy on, so I can grip it better. And this is another Parker one. Excuse me. There is a slight crack in the shank on this again. It's a very unusual dental bit on it as well. But again, it's a lovely pipe. It's got some nice graining on there, and I think actually Kim, my other half, I got her to try pipe smoking through this one. She wasn't too impressed. Up next is another one of my early pipes, probably my third or fourth pipe I bought. This is a Stanwell Deluxe. It's a very, very nice pipe. I smoke aromatics again in this pipe. It does tend to get quite hot. I prefer things with a longer shank, to be honest, but it's a lovely pipe, hangs in your mouth very, very well. And up until getting the freehand, which I showed you earlier, this was my only Stanwell that I owned. And like I say, it's nothing spectacular, but it does smoke very, very well, and I do quite like smoking that pipe. This one here is one of the new look. I smoked Carter Hall in this the other day. It's just a cheap basket pipe. I got a job load from a friend, and like I say, I've got a couple more of these. I'll just use them for tasting tobaccos that I want to taste clean, basically, in a fresh pipe that's never been smoked before. Moving on to a few more of my slightly nicer standard pipes. This is my Butch Choquin Origin. This is the smooth version, and it's again got some absolutely lovely ripple effects. You probably can't see it too well. This camera won't let you have all continuous focus, just standard focus. It's a great pipe. Again, I tend to smoke aromatics in this. I've probably smoked it a couple of dozen times. Whoops, and it's a beautiful pipe. I didn't like them for years, but eventually I bit the bullet and bought one. Next is one of my Petersons. This is my Peterson System 303. Again, this is an aromatic smoker, which is why it's not been smoked too much. The spit chamber is very useful, but this is what gave my decision that I'm not a big fan of P-lips. Not a very comfortable pipe to hold, but a beautiful pipe. I do quite like this. It hangs so well in the mouth. I just need to get a fishtail for this. Up next is the second pipe I ever bought. This is a Dr. Grabow. There's something I don't really like about smoking this pipe. It's got, again, a P-lip style mouthpiece, and it has been quite charred and burnt around the top. But like I say, it's the second pipe I ever bought. Been reamed several times. I've tried sterilising it, but there's something about the way it smokes that I'm not a very big fan of. Up next, I have a Peterson, and I've completely forgot what range this is. This is a B10, the Dunmore. These were never really advertised in the UK. I've never actually smoked this pipe. I do love the shape, and it's just one of those that I've had for a long time now, and I still haven't got around to smoking it, but I will break it in at some point. I will give this a start. Up next is my my improvised Meerschaum Church Warden. Now, the stem that's in my my pimped out Latakia furnace, this is where that stem came from, and this is an old Stanwell Hans Christian Andersen stem. Somebody didn't want the extra stem with their pipe, so luckily it fits. It's not a very good join, there's a bit of a gap there. I have dropped it several times. I have actually sheared a big piece off, so it looks rather sexy with some electrical tape on there. And there is, you can probably see it, there is a lot of dings in the bowl. When I take this to Pipe Club, I tend to have a few drinks and I tend to drop this pipe quite a lot, and yeah, it gets a little bit battered. Up next, I actually have a basket. Whoa, bugger! Up next, I actually have a basket freehand. I've kind of tried to make it like it's got a plateau top with a few saw marks, but this is a £10 pipe. I tried a longest. I wanted a slightly better stem because the stem was plastic and I pretty much chewed through it very quickly. So this is another Parker stem, which I'll show you the pipe that this came from, and it's a sitter. I quite like it. It's quite novel. I've never got freehands in basket pipes before, so as soon as I saw it, I had to buy it because, well, a freehand for a tenner. What more could you ask for, basically? Right, moving on from there, I'll move on to my Dr. Plums. Now, my first ever Dr. Plum is this little thing here that I've only ever smoked once, and this pipe has, in a way, a very, very sentimental value to me. The only problem is, working in the shop I work in, I have a lot of customers from all age groups, and the original owner of this pipe passed away. He'd never smoked it before, and his wife came in and gave the pipe to me because apparently he spoke of me quite highly and spoke of me quite a lot. So I've only ever smoked this pipe once, and like I say, it has great sentimental value. It belongs to a really nice guy. I'll say sadly he's no longer with us, but it is a nice little dinky, nice little small Dr. Plum, and I say it holds a lot of sentimental value, so I don't like smoking it because it makes me a bit sad every time I smoke it or even think about it, to be honest. Up next is my Dr. Plum Statesman. It's almost an on Paul, if you like, a very, very short on Paul. Now this, I do like this pipe. It's got a great spit chamber in it, pretty good for aromatics. It is a 9mm, but I got rid of that. But I just love the chunky rustication on the bowl. And it smokes very well, actually. It's a bitch to clean. You're trying to get the stem, the pipe cleaner through there. I'm not a big fan of on Pauls, but I do like that one. On the subject of on Pauls, I do actually own a Dr. Plum on Paul. Now, I bought this on a whim, basically. I don't own a proper on Paul, so I had to. So I got a batch of assorted Dr. Plums in, and this was in there. I just had to own it. Again, I've never actually smoked this. The draw seems so tough. I don't actually know if I'd be able to smoke it properly. This is a pearwood calabash shape. I don't know what to call this. This is a cheap, like, £8 pipe. The ring's loose on it. The draw is awful. I've never actually smoked it. I just bought it because I like the look of it. This here is a very old WH Carrington, late 1800s. The silverwork's a little bit tatty, and a little bit battered around there. And this actually has some dotter in the bottom because I'm a scruffy git and I don't always clean my pipes properly. It's got a dental mouthpiece on it. I did quite enjoy smoking that a few times, but I have literally only smoked it a few times. It's just a piece of history, basically. Here is my Comoy's Red Bark poker, basically. They call it a cherry wood, as Dunhill do. This did have a massive stem on it, but I've shrunk it down. This was my first ever poker. When I first started on YouTube, everybody has pokers, so I had to get myself one. So I basically requested a Comoy's one. And it's a lovely pipe. It smokes well. It's not too well balanced, even with the slight curve on the stem, hence the softy. But you can grip it quite well thanks to the softy. Now, this is another one of my improvised church wardens. Again, another Stanwell stem. Somebody else didn't want the stem. Some people don't even take boxes for their pipes when they buy them. They don't care. This is quite a deep chimney, and again, the stem isn't a very good match. One day I will sand this down and make this a perfect fit, but it does have quite a big church warden stem on it, basically. So another improvised church warden. I can't remember if I mentioned this big Prince here either. This is a big ass Prince. This is another one of the Dunhill seconds, branded up as Parker. I've never smoked this. I am tempted to take it back into the shop and exchange it for something else, but I have my eye on it and I keep looking at it, and I've never actually took to it, never smoked it, never even put it in my mouth, to be honest. So that one might end up going back into the shop unless anybody else would like to make me an offer for it or trade me a pipe for it. It's got some nice ring grain on there, but it is a serious big pipe, and I don't dislike big pipes, but that's got no balance to it. So I get this, it's just straight, so I get this sneaking suspicion for a person who holds pipes in their mouths like I do, I'm not going to get on with it too well. And the last one on my table here, which is this little thing. This was a varnished basket pipe, so we've sanded it down, done a very crude, like, rusticated effect on it. First attempt at doing a weird rustication, I basically just hacked at it with a knife. Gave it to a friend of mine who's known on YouTube as Baldy Benny. He basically polished it with Kanuma wax for me, stuck me that little insert in there. This was a little project that I never really finished, but I've smoked this pipe quite a lot. I just like the natural finish on there. So yeah, this is the first part of my video, and like I say, this is my part of my pipe collection. These are my smokers. These aren't the pipes which I save in my collection, or pipes that I class as pipes with soul and things like that. So these are my standard pipes, and I will be back in a moment with part 2 of this video to take you through my my more prestigious collector's pipes. So I'll see you in a moment. Right, so this is part 2 of my video on my pipe collection. Now, these pipes are what I class as my collection of collector's pipes. In here I have nearly all of these are totally handmade. There's limited edition collector's pipes and all sorts in there. So I'm going to start off with my Meerschams. Now, every year there is a trade show in the UK. I used to buy a carved Meerscham every year, but it's getting harder to find them. So I bought this one 2 years ago. This is my Buddha Meerscham. I've never smoked this. I don't ever intend to smoke these pipes. These stay in their boxes away. And these are basically, if I ever get a nice display cabinet, these will be my display pipes. So I have that Buddha. He's very, very, very heavy. The year before that, I bought this Pirate. Doesn't quite have such a nice stem on it, but the carving is brilliant on this. It's a pirate's head, and as soon as I saw that, I fell in love with it. Same as the Buddha. This is the one I bought last year. This is a really, really light Turkish Meerschaum. These are all hand carved in Turkey. This I love. I absolutely love the finish on this. It's so detailed. There's some lovely scroll work on there. It's got a PVC stem, and again, I probably won't ever smoke this. It's such a lovely pipe. Another one is this, which is a cheap Meerschaum. I smoked this quite a lot actually. I haven't smoked it for quite a while. I bought this quite a few years ago. It's started colouring on the top, but it did develop a little bit of a crack. So I stopped smoking it. I don't mind if I burn this one out. And this is one that my parents bought me for Christmas. My parents spent a lot of time in the Turkish Republic of Cyprus, and they bought this from a guy there. I believe, from what they said, this is actually made in the Turkish Republic of Cyprus, not in Turkey. It's got some nice engraving. It's a very unusual shape. It's kind of a foot at the bottom of it, but I do quite like that pipe. Now I'm going to move on now to my Peterson Pipe of the Year collection. This is all of the 2011 series. This is the Sandblast version. And it is freaking gorgeous. Out of all four, that's my favourite. This is the standard pipe of the year. This one is numbered. I forgot what number this is. This is number 201 of 1,000. They only make 1,000 of these pipes for worldwide. And this is the standard smooth finish. I do like the bowl. It's lovely. But as well as that, they do make other ones on request. So this is the ebony version. It's very, very smooth finish. Again, I prefer this over the smooth. I just love the way that the ebony works with the shape. This is my least favourite out of the set. This is the standard like Donegal rustication style. But I have the whole set of 2011 Pipe of the Years, and that's the box for it. As well as that, I have the 2009 Pipe of the Year, which has got a very cool kind of like squashed shank. What number is this one again? This is number 111 of 1,000. Again, I've not smoked these. The silver work's getting a little bit tarnished. Could do with a little bit of a polish on there. As well as that, I have the 2006, which was a silver cap poker. Now this I do really, really like. And the number on this one, this is number 507 of 1,000. It's got some nice silver work on the top there. You've already seen this pipe. I did this in my entry into Scott's competition, the most expensive pipe you own. This is a Peterson Dublin silver capped Canadian. This is a lovely, lovely pipe. I do intend to smoke this at some point. I went to a wedding last night. I took cigars. I should have took a pipe. This is the kind of pipe that I'll use for those kind of occasions. So they're my pipes that are pretty much my collection of collector's pipes. A couple of Meerschams, a couple of Peterson Pipe of the Years. After that, I move on to pipes that I'd say that have soul. These are handmade pipes these are made by YouTube pipe presenters. I'm going to start with the first one I ever got, which is this rather bloody massive poker made by Scott, SMA Pipes. It's inspired by the Balkovic style, but I don't want to mention that because I don't want to start anything up again. Kim bought me this for my birthday, and it is a freaking heavy pipe, but it's great for chugging away at latakias in it all day. I love this, love this pipe. Like I say, it's the only pipe Kim's ever bought me as a gift, and it has very, very sentimental value for that reason. After that, I then got my Giovanni made by John Daft Lily. Now this is a piece of beauty. I class these pipes as pipes with soul, because I know they're handmade, I know the pipe maker, and to me that makes it all the more special. I have, like I say, I have expensive Peterson silver capped and things like that, but these pipes are worth more to me than any other pipe I own, because I know the pipe maker. This I didn't even specify what shape I wanted. John offered this one to me, and he knew I'd love it, and he's correct. I love the stem, the flat oval shank is amazing, and as I have said this so many times on this pipe, the rustication, the detailing in this rustication is unbelievable. And they say it's a pipe with soul. I know love and time has gone into these pipes, and that's what makes them all worth it. And this is my PSP, my Patrick Smith, my olive wood. This is another massive pipe, and again, it's got the coal finish. I can remember when Patrick first started making his pipes for YouTube, and the way it progressed is unbelievable. So he made a lot of dust when he was cutting up this lump of Welsh coal. Like I say, I can't tell my dad because it's not English Midlands coal, which which my family, well, this entire area has got, the history is ingrained around the part of the mining community. Had I been born a little bit earlier than what I was, I too would have been a miner. Almost every man in the town and the surrounding villages from where I'm from were miners. The whole town exists because of the mines. And this is my latest pipe from the YouTube pipe makers. This is my Giacomo, and I fucking love this pipe. The finish, you can see there's no flaws in it anywhere. It is glass-like smooth. The grain is amazing. The staining, the shape, the balance, it's almost perfectly symmetrical. Giacomo is a true artist, and artisan pipe does not cut it. This pipe, like I say, this pipe is one with heart and soul and love gone into this pipe, and I say these pipes mean more to me than anything else I own. Even if I had sort of like a root grain Dunhill, these pipes I still would consider up there and better than, because like I say, it's, you know, there's heart and soul gone into these. And my last pipe I'm going to show you here, which I've shown many times before. This is my Pierre Morel that Pierre gave to me when I visited him in his factory workshop, should I say. Pierre Morel's family is ingrained in the history of pipes. His grandfather helped set up Stanwell, taught them how to make freehands. Pierre Morel has worked for Butz Choquan, Chacom, all of those companies to make his freehand pipes. And like I say, this pipe is one of my favourite pipes. It's a sitter. Not that time. There we go. It's a sitter, and it is the proportions of it, the way it smokes. This is, you know, again, I know this man is passionate about what he does. After watching him work in his workshop for hours on end, this man, like all the YouTube pipe makers, this pipe has love, soul and passion gone into making it, along with the Meerschaums. Somebody has sat and carved all that by hand. It isn't the kind of thing you do on a production line. It's love and attention and care has been put into these pipes. And in a way, it's the same with these Petersons, these pipe of the years. They aren't your average run-of-the-mill 306s set up the machinery for it. All these pipes, like I say, are part of my collection, and these are my pride and joys. I don't want to smoke them. Many of them, these pipes that are made by people off YouTube and Pierre Morel, I smoke these pipes. I'm going to give this its christening smoke later on this afternoon when I've got rid of this hangover a little bit more. But like I say, these are these are my pride and joys. You know, this is my collection of pipes that, like I say, aren't your standard run-of-the-mill. Some of these pipes are very expensive, and you know, they're worth every single penny of it. So thank you ever so much for watching, folks. I really do hope that you've enjoyed the look at my collection. Not going to tell any of you where I live, because I've spent a lot of money building up this collection. I guess the next video I need to do about my collection is my cigars. I buy boxes of limited edition cigars consistently, again as investment, to mature and age, that I have to not smoke, like many of these pipes are just here. So, as I said, thank you ever so much for watching, everybody. I'll be back later, hopefully with a review, or just a general chat to let you know how my Giacomo is smoking. But until then, folks, I'll see you soon. So take care.